Hello everyone. In today's video, I bring you a chilling story that revolves around a near-death experience that could change our understanding of the future. We will meet Evangeline Monroe, a dedicated nurse who, after facing death, returned with impactful visions of an imminent apocalypse, revealing a crucial day, 09/07/2024. Evangeline not only saw a devastating future, but also discovered a message of hope and the importance of acting together. What she witnessed on the other side and the purpose she received are breathtaking and may lead us to a new awareness of what is to come. So, before we begin, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel so you won't miss any stories like this, and activate the bell for all notifications. Now, get ready for an intense and surprising journey. My name is Evangeline Monroe, and I am 53 years old. I am here today to share with you an experience that completely changed my life and the way I see the world. Until recently, I was an ordinary woman, leading a normal life. I grew up in a Catholic family, and faith has always been an important part of my life. I firmly believe that good prevails over evil, although that belief has been severely tested recently. I have been a nurse for over 25 years, dedicating my life to caring for others. I have always been known for my compassion and willingness to help those in need. I am single, but have a loving family and a close circle of friends who are like brothers to me. One of those friends was James, my best friend for decades. James was diagnosed with leukemia a year ago. When he received the news that his time was running out, I promised him I would be by his side until the end. James had no close family, so I became his full-time caregiver. I spent months caring for him, administering his medication, taking him to doctor's appointments, and simply being there during the tough times. The process was emotionally draining and physically exhausting. I watched my friend wither away day by day, battling an unrelenting illness. Despite the pain, those months were also filled with moments of deep connection and reflection. James and I shared memories, laughed at old stories, and discussed the meaning of life and death. When James passed away, I felt as if a part of me had gone with him. The grief was intense, but I barely had time to process it. Soon after the funeral, I started to feel ill. At first, I thought it was just exhaustion and accumulated stress, but I quickly realized it was something more serious. What began as a simple flu soon turned into severe pneumonia. My body, already depleted from months of intensive care for James, could not fight off the infection. Within days, my condition deteriorated rapidly, and I was admitted to the ICU of the hospital where I worked as a nurse. The doctors, many of whom were my colleagues and friends, did everything they could, but my condition continued to worsen. Eventually, they made the decision to put me in an induced coma, hoping that my body could focus on fighting the infection. It was at that moment, while my body lay still on a hospital bed, that my journey into the unknown began. A journey that would take me to the edges of existence and make me question everything I thought I knew about life, death, and what lies beyond. What I am about to share with you is an experience that defies logic and understanding. It is an account of a journey to what I can only describe as the other side, a place between life and death. An experience that showed me terrifying visions of the future and forced me to confront evil itself. But it is also a story of hope, of light in the midst of the deepest darkness, and of a greater purpose that I discovered on this journey. I ask you to listen with open minds and hearts, for what I have to say may sound unbelievable, but I assure you that every word is true, every detail vivid in my memory as if it happened yesterday. This is the story of my near-death experience and how it changed not only my life, but potentially the fate of all humanity. It all begins with darkness. A darkness so deep and absolute that it seems to have substance of its own. It is not just the absence of light, but something more, something tangible that completely envelops me. In this moment, I do not feel my body. There is no pain, no physical sensation of any kind. It's as if I am just consciousness floating in the void. The silence is deafening. There is absolutely no sound. not even the faintest whisper. It is a silence that presses against my ears, echoing in my mind. I try to speak, to scream, but no sound comes out. Or perhaps it does, but is immediately swallowed by this absolute void. I do not know how long I stay like this. It could be seconds, hours, or an eternity. Time seems to have no meaning in this place. Gradually, I begin to feel something beyond the darkness and silence. It is a feeling of loss, deep and painful. It is not physical pain, but an anguish that seems to come from the depths of my soul. It is as if I know, on some level, that I am no longer in the world I know. I try to remember how I got here, but my mind is foggy. I vaguely remember the hospital, feeling very ill, but the details are hazy. It's like trying to hold water with my hands. The more I try to grasp the memories, the more they slip through my fingers. Suddenly, something changes. The darkness around me begins to move, to stir. It is subtle at first, almost imperceptible, but soon it becomes more intense. The darkness is no longer empty, no longer static. It pulses, writhes, as if it is alive. And then, I see the first color. Red. It is not a bright or vibrant red, but a deep, dark red, almost brown. It is a mist that slowly emerges, infiltrating the darkness. It moves erratically, sometimes fast, sometimes slow, creating complex patterns in the air around me. The red mist brings with it a feeling of oppression. It's as if the air is getting heavier, harder to breathe, if I am even really breathing. The atmosphere becomes dense, suffocating. I feel as if something is pressing down on my chest, even though I cannot see or feel my physical body. Gradually, I begin to realize that I can move. It is not a physical movement as we are used to. It's more like my consciousness can shift through this strange reality. I begin to walk aimlessly, searching for some point of reference, something familiar in this alien environment. As I advance, the red mist begins to dissipate. It does not disappear completely but becomes less dense, less oppressive. And then, slowly, shapes begin to emerge from the darkness. At first, they are just shadows, vague outlines that I can barely distinguish. But gradually, they become clearer, more defined. What I see fills me with horror. Before me, emerging from the mist, is a city. But it is not a city like any I have ever seen. It is a nightmare vision, a scene of complete devastation. Destroyed buildings rise like twisted skeletons against a dark, turbulent sky. The streets are littered with debris, cracked and warped as if a monstrous earthquake has passed through. The air is heavy with the smell of smoke and something else, something putrid that I cannot identify. Explosions echo in the distance, shaking the ground beneath my feet, feet that I still cannot see but somehow can feel. Screams of terror cut through the air from all directions, creating a cacophony of despair that makes me want to cover my ears and flee. People, or what remains of them, wander the streets in rags. Their eyes are empty, devoid of any hope. They move like zombies, aimless, without direction. Some weep silently, while others murmur incoherent words to themselves. It is an apocalyptic vision, a scene straight out of humanity's worst nightmares. And I am in the middle of it all, unable to escape, unable to close my eyes to this terrible reality. The feeling of loss I felt earlier intensifies, transforming into an overwhelming panic. I try to scream, to ask for help, but my voice seems to have been swallowed by the chaos around me. I am alone, lost in a world I do not recognize, witnessing what seems to be the end of everything I have known and loved. As I walk through this devastated city, my eyes are drawn to something that stands out amid the chaos. It is a partially destroyed wall, covered in ashes and soot. But there is something on it, something that glows in a supernatural way, as if it is illuminated from within. I approach slowly, feeling a mix of fear and curiosity. As I get closer, the ashes seem to dissipate, revealing what is etched on the wall. They are numbers, a date, 9/07/2024. The moment my eyes land on that date, I feel as if lightning has struck me. A wave of understanding washes over me, bringing with it a terror I have never experienced before. This date is not just a random sequence of numbers. It is a warning, a prophecy. I know, with a certainty I cannot explain, that this date marks the beginning of something terrible. It is the day everything changes, the day the world we know ceases to exist. It is the beginning of the end. My mind spins, trying to process this information. 09/07/2024, less than a year from now. How is this possible? What could cause such destruction in such a short time? And, more importantly, why am I seeing this? I look around me, at the ruined city, at the people wandering aimlessly, and I realize I am seeing the future. A near and terrifying future. The realization hits me with full force. This is not just a nightmare. It is not merely a hallucination caused by my medical condition. It is a vision, a glimpse of what is to come. The panic I feel is almost paralyzing. I want to run, to scream, to do something to stop this from happening. But I am trapped here, in this place between worlds, unable to act, forced to be a mere observer of this apocalyptic future. As I struggle against the despair that threatens to engulf me, something else begins to change around me. The atmosphere, already heavy and oppressive, seems to grow even denser. The air vibrates with a malignant energy that makes my skin crawl. And then, I hear something. It is not the distant screams of lost people, nor the echo of explosions. It is a different sound, one that sends chills through my blood. Laughter. Manic, cruel laughter that seems to come from all directions at once. I turn, searching for the source of this terrible sound, and that is when I see them for the first time. Emerging from the smoke and ruins, as if materialized from the very air, are beings that can only be described as demons. Their forms are grotesque, a bizarre mix of human and animal features. Some have scaly skin, others are covered in matted fur. Their faces are distorted, with eyes that shine with supernatural malice. Sharp claws replace hands and feet on some, while others have extra limbs sprouting from their twisted bodies. They move in an unnatural manner, sometimes gliding through the air, other times leaping from one place to another in the blink of an eye. And all the while, they laugh. They laugh as if they know a terrible secret, as if all this destruction is just a cruel joke to them. One of them, a particularly horrendous creature with twisted horns and eyes that seem like pits of liquid fire, approaches me. I feel its hot, putrid breath on my face as it speaks, its voice a guttural growl that seems to come from the depths of hell. "You are lost, little soul," it hisses, its lips curling into a malevolent smile. "Now you are part of this, part of us." I want to scream. I want to flee, but I am paralyzed by terror. The demons surround me, their laughter growing louder until it is all I can hear. I feel as if I'm being swallowed by a living nightmare, unable to escape, unable to wake up. And then, when I think things cannot get worse, I hear a voice I recognize, a voice that should not be here. It is James, my friend James, whom I saw die, whom I buried. "Evangeline," he calls, his voice distorted and laden with pain. "Why did you let me die, Evangeline? Why didn't you save me?" I try to respond. I try to explain that I did everything I could, but the words do not come. The demons continue laughing, James continues accusing me, and the date on the wall, 09/07/2024, seems to pulse with a sinister light. I am trapped in a nightmare from which I cannot escape. The demons surround me, their laughter echoing in my ears. As James's accusing voice continues to torment me, the feeling of helplessness is overwhelming. I have nowhere to run, no way to defend myself. I am completely at the mercy of these infernal creatures. One of the demons, a tall, skeletal figure with bat-like wings, approaches. Its eyes are like black holes, sucking in all light and hope. It extends a bony hand toward me, its nails sharp as blades. "Let's play a little game," it hisses, its voice like the sound of nails scraping a chalkboard. Suddenly, I find myself in a vast field. The sky above is a sickly red, and the ground beneath my feet is covered with blackberries. In my hands, a small toy pair of scissors appears, fragile and inadequate for any real task. The demon hovers above me, its cruel smile revealing rows of sharp teeth. "I cut all the blackberries," it commands. "You have 1 hour." I look at the endless field of blackberries, then at the small scissors in my hands. The task is impossible. Even with the proper tool, it would take days, maybe weeks. With this toy scissors, it is simply unachievable. But fear drives me. I begin to cut frantically, my fingers soon becoming sore and bleeding from the effort. The blackberries seem to multiply with every cut I make. Sweat drips down my face, mixing with tears of frustration and fear. Time passes, although it is impossible to tell how long. It could have been minutes or hours. When I finally stop exhausted and defeated, the field looks exactly the same as when I started. I have made no visible progress. The demon lets out a deafening laugh. "What a disappointment," it mocks. "But don't worry. We have all eternity for you to try again." With a snap of its fingers, I am back in the ruined city. But now, the demons are everywhere. They push me back and forth, forcing me to perform increasingly absurd and impossible tasks. I am made to count every grain of sand on an infinite beach. I have to climb a mountain of glass with bare hands. I must empty an ocean using only a thimble. Each failure is followed by a wave of cruel laughter. "You will never leave here," they taunt. "Your fate is sealed. You are ours now." Time loses all meaning. I do not know if I have spent hours, days, or years in this torment. The only constant is fear, pain, and the overwhelming sense of failure. At some point, exhausted beyond limits, I fall to my knees. I can no longer continue. I have no more strength to fight, to try. Despair consumes me completely. It is in this moment of absolute defeat that the demons intensify their attack. They surround me, their deformed bodies writhing in a macabre dance. Their voices merge into a hellish chorus, penetrating my mind with terrible promises. "You will never die," they sing. "You will live forever in this torment. You are part of us now, eternally trapped in despair." I feel their hands, claws, and tentacles grabbing me, pulling me in all directions. It is as if they want to tear me apart, not only physically but also my very soul. The pain is indescribable. It is not just physical, although I feel every scratch, every bite, every wound they inflict. It is a pain that goes beyond the body, reaching the core of my being. It is as if they are tearing apart my very essence. Amid this torment, I see the date again, 809/07/2024. It hovers in the air, glowing with a sinister light. The demons laugh even louder at the sight of my gaze fixed on it. "Yes," they whisper in unison. "The end is coming, and you will be here to witness every agonizing moment." I close my eyes, trying to escape this terrible vision. But even in the darkness behind my eyelids, I see the date flashing, constantly reminding me of the horrific fate awaiting not just me, but all of humanity. In this moment, submerged in the deepest despair, something inside me begins to change. It is subtle at first, almost imperceptible amidst the chaos and pain, but it is there, slowly growing, like a small seed of light in a sea of darkness. Amid the incessant torment, something strange begins to happen. From the depths of my mind, a melody emerges. It is faint at first, almost inaudible beneath the screams and laughter of the demons. But it is there, persistent, refusing to be silenced. It takes me a moment to recognize the music. It is a hymn, a song I used to sing as a child in church choirs. A song I hadn't heard in decades, but that somehow remained dormant in my memory all this time. The words begin to return to me, slowly at first, then with more strength. It is a hymn of hope, of light amidst the darkness. It speaks of a love greater than any evil, of a strength that can overcome any adversity. Without thinking, I begin to sing. My voice is weak at first, trembling and unsure. The demons continue their assault, their voices trying to drown mine out. But I do not stop. I keep singing, my voice gaining strength with each word. "What is this?" one of the demons hisses, its voice a mix of anger and confusion. I do not respond. I continue singing, my voice rising above the chaos. The words flow from me like a prayer, each syllable laden with power. As I sing, something incredible begins to happen. The darkness around me starts to recede. It is subtle at first, almost imperceptible. But gradually I see the change. The shadows seem less dense, the air less oppressive. The demons notice as well. They begin to stir, their movements becoming more frantic. Some recoil, as if the words of the song are physically hurting them. "Stop that," they scream. But their voices sound weaker now, less threatening. I keep singing, my voice growing in volume and confidence. And then, I see something that fills me with awe and joy. A light begins to emerge around me. It is not the red, sinister light I saw before, but a pure, bright, intense light. The light grows, expanding in waves. It touches the demons, and they scream in pain and rage. I see them writhing, trying to escape the glow. But the light is relentless, enveloping everything in its comforting warmth. The ruined buildings, the devastated city, all begin to disappear, swallowed by the light. The date, 9/07/2024, that once loomed threateningly now seems to melt away, its lines dissolving in the brightness. I feel the light enveloping me, penetrating every fiber of my being. It is as if it is cleansing me, washing away all pain, all fear, all despair. For the first time since this journey began, I feel peace. The demons are disappearing now, their cries of anger transforming into distant howls. The apocalyptic city, the destroyed streets, all fade away, replaced by a luminous and welcoming void. I continue singing, even as the last words of the hymn run out. My voice becomes a melody without words, a pure sound of joy and gratitude. And then, amidst this glorious light, I see a figure. My heart leaps as I recognize him. It is James, but not the tormented, accusing James I saw before. This James is smiling, his face radiant and full of peace. He approaches me, his ethereal form glowing with its own light. When he speaks, his voice is gentle and full of love. "Evangeline," he says, "you have found your way back." I want to hug him. I want to apologize for not being able to save him. But before I can speak, he continues, "It is not your time yet, my friend. There is much work to be done." I feel a pang of sadness. Part of me wants to stay here, in this place of peace and light, with my friend. But I know, deep in my heart, that he is right. James smiles once more, a smile full of understanding and affection. "Remember what you saw," he says. "Remember what you learned. The future is not set in stone. There is hope." Before I can respond, James begins to fade away. The light around me grows brighter, almost blinding. I feel a sensation of movement, as if I am being pulled backward. The last thing I hear before the light completely engulfs me is James's voice, now distant but still clear. "You have a purpose, Evangeline. Use well the time you have been given." And then, everything goes white. The first thing I notice is the sound, a constant, rhythmic beep that I immediately recognize as the sound of a heart monitor. Then comes the smell, the characteristic odor of hospital disinfectant, mixed with the faint aroma of fresh flowers. Slowly, very slowly, I open my eyes. The light is intense, almost painful after the darkness I had grown accustomed to. I blink several times, Trying to focus my vision, I am in a hospital room. The walls are a soft white, and there is a window to my right, through which I can see a clear blue sky. There are flowers in a vase on the table next to the bed, white roses, my favorite. I try to move and realize I am connected to various tubes and wires. My body aches, as if I have run a marathon. My throat is dry, and when I try to speak, only a hoarse sound comes out. Suddenly, I hear an exclamation of surprise. I turn my head and see my sister, Sarah, sitting in a chair beside the bed. Her eyes are wide with astonishment and joy. "Evangeline!" she exclaims, jumping up. "You're awake! Oh my God, you're really awake!" She leans over me, tears streaming down her face. I feel her hand squeezing mine, and the sensation is comforting, grounding me in reality. "I'm going to call the doctor," she says, pressing the call button next to the bed. In the following minutes, the room fills with activity. Doctors and nurses come in, checking my vital signs, asking questions, adjusting equipment. I hear fragments of their conversations. Miracle. Surprising recovery. Against all odds. Finally, when the commotion subsides a bit, the lead doctor approaches my bed. His face is gentle, but his eyes show a mix of joy and perplexity. "Mrs. Monroe," he says, "it's good to have you back with us. You gave us quite a scare." I try to speak again, and this time I manage to croak out a few words. "How long?" The doctor exchanges a glance with my sister before responding. "You've been in a coma for 3 weeks, Mrs. Monroe. There were moments when we weren't sure you would wake up." 3 weeks. The information hits me like a punch. It seems impossible that all that experience, the destroyed city, the demons, the light, happened in just 3 weeks. To me, it felt like an eternity. "What happened?" I ask, my voice still weak. The doctor explains that my pneumonia had worsened rapidly, leading to sepsis. My organs began to fail, and they were forced to put me in an induced coma to give my body a chance to fight. "Honestly," he says, "there were moments when we thought you wouldn't survive. Your recovery is, well, there's no other word for it than miraculous." As the doctor speaks, my mind spins. The memories of my experience are vivid, almost overwhelming. The destroyed city, the demons, the ominous date, 09/07/2024. Everything feels as real as the hospital room around me. I begin to say, but then I stop. How can I explain what I saw? How can I make them understand? My sister squeezes my hand. "It's okay, Evie," she says softly. "You're safe now. You're home." Home. The word echoes in my mind, bringing a complex mix of emotions, relief at being back, certainly, but also a sense of urgency, of responsibility. What I saw cannot be ignored. In the days that follow, my physical recovery astonishes everyone. The doctors talk about extraordinary will to live and remarkable resilience. But as my body strengthens, my mind is in turmoil. The visions of the apocalypse, the ruined city, the demons, all remain vivid in my memory. But above all, the date, 09/07/2024. It looms in my mind like a shadow, a constant reminder of what is to come. I try to talk about it with my family, with the doctors, but I see the concern in their eyes, hear the skepticism in their voices. They attribute my hallucinations to a lack of oxygen, to medication, to the trauma of the coma. "It's normal to have vivid dreams during a coma," the hospital psychologist tells me gently. "Your brain was processing a lot of information at once. Don't worry. These sensations will fade with time." But I know that's not it. What I experienced was more than a dream, more than a hallucination. It was real. As real as the hospital room around me, as real as my sister's hand in mine. At night, when I am alone, the memories come flooding back. I close my eyes and see the destroyed city, hear the screams of terror, feel the cold touch of the demons. I wake up sweating, my heart racing. The date, 09/07/2024, flashing in my mind like a neon warning. During the day, I struggle to appear normal. I smile at the nurses, chat with my family about trivial things, make plans for when I get discharged. But inside, I am screaming. I want to shake people, make them understand that time is running out. 1 week after waking up, I receive a visit from Father Thomas, the priest from my parish. He brings with him a bouquet of lilies and a kind smile. "Evangeline," he says, sitting beside my bed. "What a blessing to see you recovering. Everyone at the church has been praying for you." I look at him, feeling a sudden wave of emotion. Here is someone who might understand. Someone who believes in the power of the invisible, the supernatural. "Father," I begin, my voice trembling. "I need to tell you something important." He tilts his head, his eyes full of compassion. "I am here to listen, my daughter." And so, for the first time since I woke up, I tell everything. I speak of the darkness, of the destroyed city, of the demons. I tell about the date, 09/07/2024, and what it means. I speak of the song that saved me, of the light, of James. As I speak, I watch Father Thomas's face. I see surprise, concern, and for a brief moment, something that seems like fear. But he does not interrupt me, does not try to dissuade me. He simply listens, his eyes fixed on me. When I finish, there is a long silence. Father Thomas closes his eyes, as if in prayer. When he opens them again, there is an intensity in his gaze that was not there before. "Evangeline," he says slowly, "what you experienced is extraordinary. I cannot pretend to understand completely, but I feel there is a profound truth in what you are saying." I feel tears of relief welling in my eyes. Finally, someone believes me. What should I do? "Father," I ask, my voice almost a whisper, "how can I prevent that future from becoming a reality?" He takes my hand, his touch comforting. "Faith moves mountains, Evangeline. And you have been chosen for an important task. It will not be easy, but you are not alone on this journey." In that moment, I feel a wave of strength coursing through me. The sense of helplessness that has plagued me since I woke up begins to dissipate. In its place, a fierce determination rises. I look out the window at the blue sky outside. Somewhere beyond that horizon, the clock is ticking. The future I saw is not set in stone. There is hope. I turn to Father Thomas, my voice firm for the first time in days. "I'm ready," I say. "Tell me what I need to do." 2 weeks after waking from the coma, I am discharged from the hospital. The sun shines brightly as I walk through the front door, leaning on my sister Sarah's arm. The fresh air fills my lungs, and for a moment, I allow myself to simply enjoy the feeling of being alive. But the sense of urgency never completely leaves me. As Sarah drives me home, I watch the busy streets, people coming and going, unaware of the danger looming ahead. The date, 09/07/2024, echoes in my mind like a dark mantra. At home, I am greeted by a small welcome party. Friends and family gather, their faces radiant with joy at seeing me recovered. There are balloons, cake, presents. It is a scene of normalcy that feels surreal after everything I have experienced. I smile, hug, and express my gratitude. But a part of me is distant, observing it all as if through a veil. How can I rejoice when I know what is to come? How can I pretend that everything is all right? At night, when everyone leaves and the house falls silent, I sit on the back porch. The night sky is sprinkled with stars, a sight that used to fill me with wonder. Now, but each face I see reminds me of what is at stake. My colleagues notice the change in me. "You seem different," says a nurse I have worked with for years. More serious, perhaps, more intense. I try to explain, but the words seem inadequate. How can I convey the magnitude of what I saw, what I know, without sounding crazy? So I smile and murmur something about new perspective after a near-death experience. At night, when I can't sleep, I research online. I look for signs, for clues about what could trigger the apocalypse I witnessed. Wars, climate change, dangerous technological advancements, everything seems a potential trigger. I start taking notes, drawing connections. My room fills with papers, theories, and possible scenarios. Sarah watches me with growing concern. "Evie," she says one night, finding me awake at 3 a.m., surrounded by books and newspaper clippings. "You need to rest. This can't be healthy." I look at her, seeing the love and concern in her eyes. I want to explain, to make her understand. But how can I ask her to believe in something I am still struggling to comprehend fully? "I'm fine, Sarah," I say, forcing a smile. "Just processing some things." But I am not fine, and I know it. The urgency of my mission consumes my thoughts, my dreams. I wake up every morning with the same question. What can I do today to change the future? It is Father Thomas who finally offers me direction. One Sunday afternoon, after Mass, he calls me for a conversation in his office. "Evangeline," he says, his face serious, "I've been thinking a lot about what you told me. I have prayed for guidance, but for a sign of how we can act." I lean forward, my heart racing. "And?" He takes a deep breath. "The answer I received is not simple. We can't just go out preaching about the end of the world. People wouldn't understand, wouldn't believe." I feel a pang of disappointment, Mo, but he continues. "But we can act. We can work to make the world a better, stronger place, more prepared to face any challenges that come. And we can spread hope, Evangeline. Hope is the most powerful weapon against the darkness." His words ignite a spark within me. Yes, I think. This is it. I can't change the world alone, but I can do my part. I can be a light in the darkness. "What do you suggest, Father?" I ask, feeling a new determination grow inside me. He smiles, a smile full of kindness and strength. "Let's start small. A study group, perhaps. People who want to make a difference, who want to prepare spiritually for the challenges ahead." I nod, my mind already working on the possibilities. "And we can expand from there. Community projects, charity actions." "Exactly," he says. "Let's build a network of light, Evangeline, a network that can withstand the darkness, no matter what comes." I leave the church that day with a new purpose. The date, 09/07/2024, still looms over me, a constant reminder of what is at stake. But now, for the first time since waking from the coma, I feel like I have a plan. I look up at the sky, at the sun shining through the clouds. "I'm ready," I whisper to myself. Let the battle begin. The following days are a whirlwind of activity. With Father Thomas's help, I begin organizing the study group. At first, it's just a few people, members of the church who have known me for years and trust me. I don't tell them the whole truth about my experience. Not yet. Instead, I speak about the importance of being spiritually prepared for whatever challenges the future may bring. Our first meetings are simple. We study sacred texts, discuss philosophy and ethics, practice meditation and prayer, but gradually, we begin to expand our focus. We talk about real-world problems, poverty, injustice, environmental destruction, and more importantly, we talk about solutions. "We can't change the whole world at once," I say to the group one night, "but we can change our little piece of it. And if each of us does that, imagine the impact we can have." The enthusiasm is contagious. Soon, we are organizing community projects, cleaning parks, visiting nursing homes, tutoring underprivileged children. Every small action seems to ignite a light, pushing back the darkness I saw in my vision just a little bit more, but it is not easy. There are nights when I wake up sweating, the images of the destroyed city still vivid in my mind. The date, 09/07/2024, remains a constant presence, a silent reminder of what is at stake. In one of those moments of doubt, I receive an unexpected visit. It is late at night, and I am sitting on the porch, gazing at the stars, when I feel a presence beside me. I turn and see James. My heart skips a beat. He is not really here, I know that. It is a vision, a dream perhaps, but it feels so real. "You're on the right path, Evangeline," he says, his voice soft and comforting as it always was. "Don't give up. Every small act of kindness, every seed of hope you plant, makes a difference." I want to hug him, to tell him how much I miss him, but before I can, he disappears, leaving only a trace of light in the night air. That visit, real or not, renews my determination. The next morning, I propose a new initiative to the group, a mentorship program for at-risk youth. If we can reach these children, I explain, if we can show them there is hope, that they have value, imagine the impact that could have. The program takes off quickly. I see changes happening, small at first, but significant. A boy who was about to drop out of school decides to continue his studies. A girl who struggled with depression finds new purpose in art. They are small victories, but each one seems to push the dark future I saw further away. Meanwhile, our network continues to grow. What started as a small study group expands to include people from all walks of life, teachers, business people, artists, activists. Each one brings their own skills and perspectives, enriching our work. One night, after a particularly productive meeting, I find myself alone in the church hall, rearranging the chairs. Father Thomas walks in, a warm smile on his face. "Evangeline," he says, "do you see what is happening here? The impact you're having?" I pause, looking around the room. I see the posters of our projects on the walls, the smiling faces of the people we have helped. "Yes," I reply slowly. "I think we are making a difference. More than you can imagine," he says, placing a hand on my shoulder. "You have planted a seed of hope, and it is growing. People are coming together, strengthening each other. This is exactly what we need to face whatever challenges the future may bring." His words touch me deeply. For the first time since I woke up from the coma, I feel that maybe, just maybe, we can truly change the course of destiny. But the sense of urgency never completely leaves me. As the months pass and we approach 2024, I intensify my efforts. We expand our programs, reach more people, build partnerships with other organizations. Every day is a battle against time, against the fate I saw. Sometimes, the weight of responsibility feels overwhelming. But then, I see the impact of our work, a family rising out of poverty, a forest being saved, a community coming together, and I find the strength to carry on. The date, 09/07/2024, draws inexorably closer. But now, I no longer see it merely with fear. I see it as a challenge, a call to action, and I know I am not alone in this fight. September 7th, 2024, dawns clear and sunny. I wake up early, my heart pounding in my chest. It is the day that has haunted my thoughts for so long, the day I saw in my apocalyptic vision. I step out onto the porch and look up at the blue sky. There are no dark clouds, no signs of impending destruction. The world looks normal, peaceful even. But I know I cannot let my guard down. I spend the morning in prayer and meditation, seeking strength for whatever the day may bring. In the afternoon, I meet with the group at the church. I haven't told everyone about the significance of this specific date, but they can feel my tension, my urgency. Today is an important day, I tell them. A day when we need to be more united and vigilant than ever. We organize a prayer vigil, open to the entire community. People start to arrive, members of our network, but also many others drawn by the atmosphere of purpose and hope we have created over the months. Hours pass. We pray, sing, and share stories of hope and transformation. The energy in the church is palpable, a mixture of expectation and determination. As the sun begins to set, I feel a change in the air. It is not something I can see or hear, but a deep, visceral sensation. It's as if the very fabric of reality is stretching, trembling under some invisible pressure. I look around and see that I am not the only one feeling this. People seem restless, their gazes turning toward the windows as if expecting to see something extraordinary. And then, it happens. It is not an explosion, nor an earthquake, nor any physical catastrophe. It is something more subtle and, in a way, deeper. A wave of energy seems to sweep across the world. For a moment, everything goes silent. The air vibrates with a strange frequency. I feel a pressure in my ears, as if I am rapidly ascending in altitude. And then, as quickly as it began, it passes. The people around me seem stunned, confused. Some cry without knowing why. Others embrace each other, seeking comfort. I close my eyes and take a deep breath. And it is then that I realize something has changed. Not in the physical world around us, but in something deeper. It's as if a curtain has been lifted, revealing a broader, more complex reality. I open my eyes and look at the people in the church. I see a mixture of fear and wonder on their faces. They feel it too, even if they don't fully understand what it is. It's okay, I say. My voice surprisingly calm. We're safe. We are united. In the days that follow, we begin to understand what happened that night of September 7th. It was not the end of the world as I had feared. Instead, it was an awakening. Reports start coming in from around the globe, people talking about similar experiences, a sense of change, of revelation. Many speak of visions, of a deeper understanding of their connection with others and with the world. I realize that what we witnessed was not the apocalypse in the traditional sense. It was a shift in consciousness, a turning point in the spiritual evolution of humanity, and our work, our network of light and hope, played a crucial role. We helped prepare people for this change, to strengthen their souls for this new chapter in human history. I look back at my journey since that near-death experience and see how each step was necessary. The terror of what I saw propelled me into action. The hope I found gave me the strength to carry on. And love, the love for people, for the world, for life, was what truly made the difference. Today, as I write these words, the world still faces challenges. There is still injustice, there is still suffering, but there is also a new awareness, a new determination to face these issues together. My journey is not over. In fact, I feel it has only just begun. But now, it is no longer a journey of fear, but of hope. It is no longer a race against time, but a steady walk toward a better future. And what about that date, 09/07/2024, that haunted me for so long? Now I see it not as the day of the end, but as the day of the beginning. The day humanity took its first collective step toward a new dawn. I look out the window at the world outside and smile. The future is not set in stone. It is in our hands, in our hearts, and together, we can shape it for the better. If you enjoyed this beautiful spiritual testimony, leave a link, share your impressions, subscribe to the channel, and don't forget to activate the notification bell to catch each new video and help us spread this message to a wider audience. Until next time.